John. Please welcome John.
Right, I'm going to start my timer so I won't upset anybody. But good afternoon, it's great to be here today. I'm indeed Dr. John Stinson, Managing Director of Building Research Solutions. So some of you will already know me from the days when I worked with Professor Sean Smith at the Scottish Energy Centre in the Institute for Sustainable Construction, or maybe you know my name from the numerous technical papers and retrofit refurbishment case studies that I've written with Historic Environment Scotland, or maybe we worked with each other all those years ago to produce the content for that retrofitscotland.org website. But either way, thank you to Hugh, Mary, Kelly, and the entire team. Scotland Excel have been fantastic. Working with Scotland Excel has been phenomenal, and this whole event this afternoon has been really wonderful. So I am here indeed to add my voice to the development of the Energy Efficiency Contractors Technical Specifications, which very much was written to drive quality and also to drive skills within the sustainable retrofit parts of our economy. So I'm not going to take too long, hopefully, because John is much more important than I am. So I'm going to cover kind of three main areas, and then we'll go to questions with Mary as well. So I'm going to cover the kind of principles and the fundamentals that went into building the technical specifications and then creating the framework. Also the underpinning principles that went into delivering the lots and the sublots. And then I'll talk about the positive impacts and the legacy that comes with adopting this framework and using it. So I will be here all day. If I say something that you want to know more about, BRS do have a stand up in the exhibition area. Now, BRS aren't on the framework, but myself and my colleague, Dr. Ruth Saint, who also provided significant support to the framework, we're here all day and happy to have that conversation. So, just following on from what Mary said, I'm going to go a little bit deeper now into the actual framework and what you can actually find inside the framework and give you a bit of confidence that with using this framework you are doing local good and national good. So, when working to bring this framework together, there were four driving fundamentals that were in the heart of delivering the framework, and that was to create something that would be a harmonised methodology, to create an authoritative checklist that Scotland Excel's members could rely on, also ensuring safeguarding good practice within the development and evolution of the retrofit works in Scotland, and also producing a document that could help create repeatable workflows to help smooth the uptake of retrofit, because retrofit's a very complex organism and trying to do it right and fast is difficult. So these four driving principles were at the very heart of what was being developed. Now, as Mary said, the best way to think about the technical specification is it's a library of information, and it's very clearly broken down into four key areas which become your lots. So you have a lot that provides the technical specifications for your professional services. You have a lot that provides technical specifications for building fabric measures, then one for heating ventilation systems, and a lot in there for energy generation and energy storage systems. Now, they are written to be somewhat independent of each other, so if you're only using parts of it, then they do stand alone. But when you apply all of the information within the lots and the sublots, you effectively have the blueprints for a whole building retrofit specification within this technical document. So before I move on to my next slide, I just want to say that Scotland and Scotland's construction industry have a really amazing history of monitoring what we're doing, tracking it, closing that knowledge gap and making those lessons learned. And everything that we as a country have learned about retrofit before, during and after those retrofitscotland.org era, that's all heavily influenced all the information and guidance that's in this technical specification. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper now and talk about kind of really introduce the sublots that you'll find under each of the four lots. So your sublots is where your technical specifications essentially live. So within Lot 1, you'll have 4 sublots, and that provides the technical specifications for professional services. So you've got technical specs for energy efficiency designer, coordinator, assessor, and managing agent. Now, these may sound similar to titles that are used in other retrofit frameworks, other retrofit standards and such, and in many respects, they are similar in some areas, but they do go beyond what a lot of those other standards and specifications say, because again, this is a Scotland Excel document. It's written by Scottish people for Scottish buildings to safeguard the Scottish archetypes that we're retrofitting into the future. The second lot is building fabric measures, and that's essentially your thermal insulation materials. And that's written from a fabric first perspective. It's also written to ensure the continuity of your thermal envelope. Lot 3, I've just noticed a mistake on my slides. Lot 3 is your essentially your HVAC measures, and that has technical specifications for conventional high heat heating systems, and also low heat, low carbon heating systems. There's technical specifications in there for heat distribution and also for ventilation. Now, again, the ventilation technical specifications was written in a way to support the uptake of continuous active mechanical ventilation systems to continue that drive towards improving the air tightness envelope of our existing building stock. And then we have our Lot 4, which has 4 sublots, and that has technical specifications for 2 panelized energy generation systems for heat and electricity to support the uptake of that technology into our existing building portfolios, and also technical specifications for our energy storage systems, both electricity and heat as well. And again, that's in there to support the proliferation of this storage technology into our existing buildings, to support a move to continue to consume as much generation on site that we generate, also to help to reduce the unstable fluctuations we're seeing in utility bills and tariff prices, and it's also there to support the growth of that technology in this area. Right, so I'm going to go one step deeper into the technical specifications again, but this is about as deep as I'm going to go because I'm about halfway through, so we're about halfway through the presentation. At the very start of the technical specifications, there is a section at the beginning which sets out a lot of generic information which applies to all of the sublots. Now, whether you're working with one sublot or you're working with them all, that part at the very start of the documentation applies to the whole document. After that, your Lot 1, your Lot 2, Lot 3, and Lot 4, again, are all written to be almost independent of each other. So if you're only working with a certain retrofit measure or a certain retrofit service within your retrofit project, then it facilitates that, but it very is a holistic view, and I'll talk about that in a few seconds. So within Lot 1 differs from Lot 2, 3, and 4, where Lot 1 is your technical specifications for for people and persons who are going to take up the role of professional services to support your retrofit project, where Lots 2, 3, and 4 are essentially technical specifications for materials and technologies. So Lot 1 differs because the 4 sublots in Lot 1 have the same 4 headings. So you've got general requirements, and that will set out the definition of what this document means about a certain professional service, the regulatory requirements of that professional service, and a very comprehensive list of things that they must consider when they're going to take up this role. Then there's an area or a section within there that describes the contractual information, and then there's an area that describes the suitability of the persons who's going to fulfill that role. And again, that would essentially outline the details of what would be an ideal supplier or an ideal contractor within the sublot. And then the largest part of the sublots within Lot 1 is a very detailed list that defines the role of energy efficiency designer, assessor, coordinator, and managing agent. And again, all written from a very strong Scottish perspective, all built on the years of knowledge that we have all learned together, and how you treat some of these existing buildings and how you handle some of Scotland's more delicate archetypes. So the driving, or the underpinning principles rather, that went into delivering this content was to ensure that there was clear lines of responsibility within these professional services, to ensure that there's a clear definition between the 4 services, but also clearly defined from other retrofit frameworks and standards out there that have similar titles. Ensuring that there is a list of considerations that can be relied on to help reduce mistakes going into the project, and then also ensuring that whoever you're appointing to this role has a very strong experience in this area. Ensuring that there's a holistic view, so a lot of the considerations in each of the sublots will not just consider energy efficiency for the particular area that you're retrofitting, but it'll ensure that you have an eyes wide open kind of horizontal view on other parts of the building that will be affected by what you're adding to that building. That also includes acoustic, ventilation, moisture, condensation, structure and fire. And accountability was something that needed to be made clear within the document, and it very much is. So lots 2, 3, and 4, like I say, that's where the technical specifications for your retrofit materials and your technologies live. And with all of the sublots inside that lot, they all follow the exact same 3 heading structure, again, to make the whole document and the whole framework as easy to digest and as effective to use as possible. So there, all of the sublots in 2, 3, and 4 are written under the same 3 headings. You've got general requirements, which sets out the definition of what this retrofit measure actually is. You've got the regulatory requirements of using that retrofit measure, and again, a very detailed, comprehensive list built from years and years of everything we've learned together on the things that you need to consider when you're applying that material or technology to Scotland's archetypes. Then there's an area on information that should be provided, including an itemized list to be cost, more considerations that need to be thought about by the costing team, and an itemized list for specifying the measures, which includes the performance criteria of the measures. And now written in all of the sublots for lot 2, 3, and 4 is a building performance testing section. And again, going back to what Professor Sean Smith had said and what other speakers have echoed about today, it is all about learning as we go, sharing that knowledge, sharing the experience, de-risking the process, and getting it right first time. And Scotland, of all the different parts of the UK and other countries that take retrofit as seriously as we do, we have been at the forefront of building performance evaluation for decades. So this document, again, carries that torch and brings it forward into the next generation of people who are retrofitting. So there is a requirement for post-retrofit performance reporting, and that is, again, to ensure accountability, close that knowledge gap, and to really build a very strong set of skills and professionals in the industry who can do retrofit evaluation as well as retrofit assessment and do that comparison, and to make sure that we're getting it right first time. And the more we do it, the better it becomes and the faster it becomes, and that's what we're trying to get to, is smooth and fast. Right, I hope I'm within time. I kind of am. So I'm going to wrap up here now by talking about the positive impacts and the legacy of adopting this framework and using these technical standards. So you might be thinking, why are all these things in here? Why do we have all these bits and pieces? Well, first off, the technical specification is written to align with Scotland Excel's vision and goals, and like Mary said, to support and to run in parallel with other frameworks within the construction sector. But it is to align with Scotland Excel's vision and goals to support Scotland Excel's members towards achieving that more sustainable future within our built environment. Everything that's written in here interfaces really clearly with the Scottish Government's energy efficiency action plans for achieving net carbon buildings in Scotland. It's also there, the whole framework is really there to streamline the whole specification process in general, and the building performance requirement is there to ensure that we're continuing to generate that really insightful building information content and information to inform future retrofits, to help with future modelling, to help with future energy efficiency assessment, and to really become a decision support tool. And it all comes together to making sure we're optimising the performance of our buildings in the long term. So what that would look like would be to reduce the need to go back to our buildings. The word I'm hearing, and it's giving me a lot of concerns, is re-retrofit. We want to reduce the need to re-retrofit in 10, 15 years' time. We want to get it right. We also, the whole specifications there to ensure that we're working towards reducing fuel poverty, improving indoor air quality, creating warmer, healthier spaces within all our buildings, and really the ultimate goal here is to reduce the operational carbon dioxide emissions within our existing buildings. So that is it from me today. Thank you all for your time, and we'll go back to Hugh.